Oops, sorry, Sam.
Very good.
Um, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Grant. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Yeah. Second by Pat.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
All right, and did everybody get a chance to read through the minutes from last time? And if so, can we get a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting from October 15th?
I'll make that motion.
second.
Motion by Kanako, second by Grant. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye. All right, is there any comments or correspondence from the public at all? Sam, I don't think there's many people on, right?
Yes.
Oh, go
I
ahead,
don't,
John.
I'm not sure that the email that I sent to the office was forwarded to all of you or not.
No, John, there wasn't time to do it. We're going to discuss that under the next item.
Okay, so I won't say anything then until then, I guess.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, then we will move on to number 5, discussion action items, 5A boathouse project update.
Okay, so I'll start with that. John did send us an email. We asked him for an update on where we were at with the contract signing and everything else. And he sent us an email and he can certainly explain the rest of it. But according to him, it was signed by John Lewinsky, the president of SBH, and forwarded to the admin office on November 7th, so that the contracts have been signed with the Historical Society. John?
Yeah, that's right. And he actually delivered them to the village office Friday morning.
Okay.
Just the other updates. We have a building committee now. Russ Forkert and excuse me, Scott Heidler and Mike Piot, who are now in charge of the building process once we get all the pieces put together for that. And Mike Carr is going to continue to serve us as a consultant and liaison with the architect. We have also, the Sister Bay Historical Society has hired a full-time curator now who is going to be in charge of the process of laying out our floor plan and identifying the items that we're going to be able to display. The Sister Bay, excuse me, the Door County Maritime Museum in Sturgeon Bay, as you know, in Girls Rock, has indicated their willingness to help us with guidance and even potentially loan of some artifacts that they have that represent the Sister Bay area, and to give and guidance to us in that whole process. So that they're obviously very competent and very strong. It'll be a big help. We have about $200,000 in cash or cash and CDs at this point in time, so we're sound financially. Need to raise about $100,000 more to pay for the complete renovation of the building. We, of course, paid for the purchase of the Shadow, our premier event, or our premier exhibit. So I think that's my report.
That's wonderful. So everything's signed. You guys are all ready to go?
What's the village?
Our building committee needs to make some decisions now. I'm hoping, frankly, that they'll decide to do a uh, direct contract with the contractor instead of spending all the time of asking for bids that we probably won't get any responses for anyway. And but so a design and build contract is something that I'm hoping that they'll do. But it's a really good committee. Obviously, Russ Forkert and Scott Heidler. You all, I know you know Scott's brother Skip, uh,
Mhm.
and Scott probably. Very competent people, and of course Mike Piot, longtime Sister Bay guy with a lot of building experience and understanding. So that'll be very strong.
That's wonderful. That's exciting.
Thank you. We're pleased. It's been a long slog for all of us, and we do very much appreciate the support that you all have given us.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the project on, John. I think everybody's really excited about it, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing it. Dave, did you have anything else on that?
None on the boathouse. Nope, should be all set.
Okay. Okay, did anybody have any questions on that at all?
Nope. Thanks for the update.
All right, then we will move on to 5B, new Marina building update.
We're going to kind of combine item B and item C together. We were anticipating maybe having some internal views available to us for this meeting. We couldn't get them done on time. Part of the reason is we had a delay with Stantec, who did the survey, Marina survey. And that's why I have the building proposals for the engineering proposals right underneath this item. When we got the Stantec survey back, I don't know how familiar you are with the sanitary sewer system, but in Sister Bay, obviously you have a storm sewer system. So when it rains or floods or whatever, it runs down to the sewer gut into the gutters, down to the pipe, and there's an outfall pipe that goes to the middle of Marina Park in one spot on this side of the village that empties stormwater. And there's various outfalls throughout the village along the beach. Okay. But secondary to that, there's also a sanitary sewer outfall pipe. So after the sewer effluent moves out to the sewer and water plant, it's treated, okay, and solids are taken out, but there's liquid left. That liquid is pumped down to here, and it goes out a quarter mile out into the bay and is discharged out in the bay. Well, it turns out that that pipe runs right under the front corner of this building. Okay, and you think about the marina, there's a marina sign that says Sister Bay Marina. Right there is a manhole cover. And there's a manhole cover right next to our dumpster out here outside the office door. If you drew a straight line between those two, that's where the pipe goes. And then it turns and goes the quarter mile out into the bay and discharges the effluent out there. Okay. So obviously, if you're going to build a new building over an existing active sewer pipe, you have to have some engineering drawings done just for that fact. So we need to have that done in what they call geotechno engineering, where they come and they do a little drilling and they check water levels and depths and the type of soil and the compaction and whether the building second story can take that load, or if something has to be done different with foundations, etc. So they can't move forward on any more building until they get some of the engineering side of it done, so they know what they can do or they can't do load wise and where the building is. Now, the other thing that the survey showed us is we do have about 11 or 12 feet of space behind us that we could move the building back a little bit, and we may end up having to do that to accommodate the sewer thing. But until we get the engineering side of that done, we don't know where they can site the building per se. Okay, so that's why we have the two engineering proposals on here. The two engineering proposals, if you looked at them in the packet, I think they're swapped in the packet. The first engineering proposal that we want to look at is the one that I think it's like, hold on, let me get to it. It's $9,500 is the fee. I think it's listed as the second one in the packet that you have on page 9. But it's $9,500, and that would get the survey portion of the engineering portion of it done for the schematic design portion that they've given us so far, to see where they can site the building on the property based on that sewer outfall pipe and where the back of the building can go and how close we can go to the road, etc. And there's also floodplain issues, obviously on this side of the Highway 42. So that's what this engineering proposal would take care of, that information, so they can proceed forward with the phase that we signed last month. Okay, they keep going forward. Then the second part is, which is listed as, it's on page 7. That's a fee of $14,300. That is what they would need to do the construction drawing side of things. So this one, the construction drawing side wouldn't happen till they finish the schematic design as to where they can site the building and everything else. Okay, so these two engineering proposals would be for the construction of the building as required by the architectural requirements of where we're located, if that makes sense. So I'm asking for approval of those two proposals. That would then go to the board next week on the 18th for them to sign off on the two engineering proposals.
Hey, Dave, could I ask just a quick question? You mentioned moving the building 10 or 11 feet back. You don't mean back into the park, do you? Do you mean toward the road, or which way?
Well, we wouldn't really move it 10 or 11 feet. We were talking maybe 4 or 5 feet.
And is that back toward the park?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
where the row of trees is now, we might if that's 4 or 5 feet to get to the side. We'd move it back 4 or 5 feet from where
Yeah,
it
I think
currently
we
is.
discussed that would be beneficial regardless, just to have a little
Yes,
bit more space. Great.
right,
Okay.
right. But again, that's part of you have to do. You have to do the soil sample, the borings, everything else because you're moving it
Yep.
back, right?
Yep.
So
Hey, Dave, so we're having a geotechnic survey done also up on the Mill Road property where the old Parks building used to be. That was a separate quote that came in to the board, and that quote was around $6,000, but it looked different than this to me. It like laid out the different soil testing
right.
areas, how many holes would be drilled, that type of thing. So that's not included in this.
No, no. I don't want to confuse it. This is not the geotechnical survey. Okay. The
Okay.
engineers will come and take a look at this and decide where or when they have to do the geotechnical. They may not have to. Okay. That's why there's not a geotechnical proposal here until they get into and they'll go through all the drawings and all the past construction documents. They'll go through all of that before they decide if they actually physically have to do the additional geotechnical side of it.
Okay, so that may be, in addition to this, that may be an extra 6, 8, 9 thousand
Possibly,
dollars.
possibly in the future, yes.
Okay. And then the other question is, I'm looking at the contract that we started out with MDT, our architectural firm.
Mhm.
They also have, so we just did the schematic design phase where they did the layouts and stuff. We
Right.
just approved and sent to the board, and the board approved the next phase, which is the design development phase. So like what the building looks like, what the materials are, all of that. Then our
Yes,
next phase is construction documents phase.
yes.
That is quoted out by MDT at about $20,000. Is that different than this construction documents by the engineers? Because to me,
Yes. So
they're kind of
again,
the same.
in order you have to have both. You have to have both engineering and architects to come up with a set of drawings. So the next phase is to do the inside views and the elevations and materials and all that sort of thing. The um, engineering proposal will give them where they can site it, where they can place it, what type of materials could be used based on what they have to do foundation wise, and how they would site the building. That's separate from the construction documents. So once we would agree that we're good with all the elevations, we're good with the building, everybody's happy with design, then you would move forward with construction documents. And that's when MDT would have to do the architectural construction documents. And the engineering that had been done up to that point in time would feed into those construction documents. So it's a matter of phasing and timing, not necessarily um, when let me restate that. So in order for the architects to finish the construction drawing side of it, they also have to have the engineering side to do the construction documents. So
Right.
they work together. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Right. I just wasn't clear if MDT had recommended this company and that was what they were talking about in the construction documents phase, or if they were two separate things.
Right. Well, two separate proposals, but yes, this is the firm that was recommended by MDT.
Okay. So in total, MDT, based on their estimates, will come in around 50,000 for all three phases. And then the
Yep.
engineers will come in around 25,000 plus for their phases if there's no changes and no travel or anything like that.
Right.
And then we have the geotechnic survey.
Right.
So we're probably at around 85 for surveys and documents, well, plus whatever it costs for that um,
Yes.
land survey. Okay.
Right.
I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah. And
Just so we
I think the
know,
land survey was about 6,500. I don't,
Okay.
but I haven't got the
so
bill
we
on that
know,
yet.
Bridget and Dave, how much of that, I think you summed up 80, was due to this new information that sewage discharge pipe is going under the building?
Probably at least 14 or 15 of it.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand the delta. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I read through the contracts. The only thing that concern me at all, and only because I've not read through an engineering contract in a little while. If you're looking at page 7 in their exclusions, the first one says excluded schematic design phase. Is that because MDT is doing that?
Yes.
Okay. Lead documentation. I actually don't know what lead documentation is.
That's if you want to have LEED certified buildings. And we're not doing any LEED certified buildings, so that's why they're saying that's not included.
Okay. Fire sprinkler design. Do we need a fire sprinkler? And we would hire our own firm to do that?
Or that's part of the architectural services.
Okay. I hate fire sprinklers. Okay. Structural and civil design services. Is that MDT also?
That's MDT, right?
Okay.
I think pretty much the exclusions here are what MDT would be doing on the architectural side.
Okay. I just want to make sure this was all normal. And then travel expenses, do they anticipate traveling up here frequently? I just don't want
No.
to end up with an extra $10,000 bill at the end because someone had to drive back and forth 4 times.
Yeah, no, and that's pretty much up to us how we use them if we for site visits or travel at this point in time. A lot of the engineering stuff is just done off of structural drawings or information they're getting from other engineers or from the architects. So we anticipate them probably only coming once, which I believe is included in the contract.
Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. Did anybody else have any questions on these? Okay, so I guess a motion would be in order to approve both engineering contracts from Ace Engineering Services.
Yeah, motion to approve both.
Second.
Motion by Grant, second by Kanako. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, all right. Motion passes. So we'll send these up to the board, and then Dave, we'll just wait to see if they need us to do the geotechnic thing or not. And if so, do you know how long they usually take to let us know?
Um, I believe we would know within a couple of days of the engineers getting this information. Um, there, we have forwarded them a lot of the um, documents and engineering stuff that we had from previous buildings, what we got from Stantec for the survey. Some of that has been digitized, and we will be sending that all to the engineers. And from that, they may come up with some additional questions. But they said should be able to do most of it should be able to be done off that documentation.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess moving on to 5D, boardwalk materials purchase.
It's been an interesting month since we had our last discussion about the e-pay wood. I've learned a lot more about it. I'm a lot more educated. I might go into the e-pay wood business myself now that I got all this information. I'll start this off with, let's not forget that while we're in the northern hemisphere, this wood comes from the southern hemisphere. So we're currently moving into fall and winter. They're moving into spring and summer. So winter is when they do all their cutting and gathering of all their wood, okay? And when it gets too hot, they stop. Well, they stop cutting in about a week, all right? And that's why everybody tries to get this wood now, this time of the year, because they also want to unload it. You get a better pricing now than if you wait, because they want to get it transported out of the country, okay? So as it turns out, we've been working with Mike Carr, of course, our engineer on this whole thing. He has got 3 bids or 3 quotes, and I was also got a bid or a quote. All of them come in between $90,000 and $100,000, and the difference between them is how you mount or how you're going to use the wood. You can either mount them with clips or you can mount them with screws. Okay. And it's a difference in the type of wood. So if you get them where you're going to mount clips, you buy the wood, it's got grooves in it that the clips fit into that hold it down. If you don't use clips and you're going to drill through it, then they don't groove them. Okay. But in talking to all these places, I stumbled across, everybody knows Skip Heidler. Okay. Skip came from the hardwood business himself after 40 years, him and his family, and have turned that business over to their nephew a couple of years ago. I was able to spend a great deal of time with the nephew on phone and got the most information I've ever gotten about the Ipe wood. Okay. And some of the best quotes, but he gave us a lot of information that we should look at in evaluating this, which was very helpful to Mike and I and Sam when we were looking at all these quotes and stuff. And they also did send us a quote. And so really, I'm suggesting that we authorize or approve purchasing this up to a maximum, say a maximum amount. Okay. And then we can work with the vendors to get it actually delivered and what they would do. So we have some vendors that would ship it directly here and it'll just sit out here on the docks or wherever we would put it until we get it installed. We have other vendors that will hold it. As long as you pay for it and buy it, they will hold it, they'll groove it, they'll keep it in building, they'll transport it at no additional charge whenever we want it. They'll bring it up to us when we're ready to use it. Okay. The idea, again, if you go back, we had this bid last month that didn't work out because of the cost. So the idea behind doing this boardwalk is we would become the general contractor ourselves as the village, okay, and then hire people. So we would buy the materials ourselves at our own cost, and then we would hire people personally to install. So we also have a lead on several people that have used ePay in the past, have installed it in the past, have worked for companies that have installed it. So it appears that getting it installed is not the issue. There's people available to do that. And it can also be done in the middle of winter if you can find somebody that wants to work in the middle of winter. This wood can be done in the middle of summer, middle of winter. The wood doesn't care. So it gives us a great deal of flexibility. So the thought was if we can go ahead and authorize and get this ordered and in process where we have it someplace where it's sitting, okay, and it's now ours, and just wait for it to be delivered, then we can work on going out, finding out and hiring who we want to install it, and then get that time to go. But timing wise, it appears that timing wise it would work out well, and that we could in fact get this actually done before spring, whether we work on it in the winter or we do it in March or April. It could still be done before we open without too much difficulty. So I was going to propose that we do a not to exceed $110,000 on the purchase of the wood. And the reason I say that is the quotes that we have, one quote is the boardwalk is 140 feet long, another quote says it's 165 feet long. So it kind of varies a little bit. And so if I figure it all out, the max is probably about 100 to 105. I'm just asking for 110 not to exceed. But I'm pretty confident that we'll be under that without a problem. So that's what I'm asking, is that you approve this wood purchase for not to exceed. And when I say the wood, I'm talking the materials for it. That would be if we use clips and screws, that would include all of that. It's not just the wood. It would be the mounting materials too, storage,
And
delivery, etc.
Dave, do we have to lock into a path of whether we do clips or screws right now, or can that wait?
No. The companies, three of the four companies can provide either one.
Okay.
They just need to know. So if you're going to do the clips, you tell them, and then they do the grooving themselves at their location. So the wood comes here, we buy it from them, we tell them we want the clips, they do the grooving then before they would deliver.
Okay. That sounds like that would add quite a cost, would it?
Well, one of the guys I talked to well, they're all pretty high in the ePay. I was really surprised. It's just that people haven't used it in the past because of the expense, but now the regular cost of wood and materials is approaching it. So it's becoming a hot category right now at the moment is this particular wood. He said the clips or the drill doesn't make any difference as far as the actual use of the wood, but it's the ease of replacement or the ease of installing. He said it'll cost 25 to 30% more if you use screws as opposed to using the clips. Okay. And the clips, you can also, if you leave the spacing, what he calls the correct way, you could just replace a board with the clips without having to tear the whole thing apart. You wouldn't have to remove 3 or 4 boards to replace one. You could just remove the one that you wanted. Same thing with the screws. But with the screws, after you install it, you have to fill with a plug the hole on top of the screw that you put in. Okay, and obviously then you can get leakage or seepage in there too. The other thing they mentioned was the material that you use for the screws and the clips. People have used plastic, they've used aluminum, whatever, and all these companies said you absolutely can't do that. It has to be 100% stainless steel. Same thing, it has to be 100% stainless steel screws, not stainless steel coated, but stainless steel screws. Um, and if you use those, there's no problem. And the example they cited was the boardwalk at Atlantic City has been there for 40 years, and it's Ipe wood. And every day, twice a day, they take garbage trucks and run it up and down that boardwalk emptying garbage. And they said it looks today like it did 40 years ago. It just wears like concrete, basically. It is what it is. So they recommend if you're going to go the clips, it's got to be all stainless steel and nothing but. Okay, and so there's a little bit of difference in the time it takes, and there's a little bit of difference in aftercare because if you use the screws, you got to put the plug in and you got to seal the plug. And if you don't use stainless steel, well, he said after what happens is after a couple of years, the wood will leak. If it's aluminum or plastic, it'll leak on that wood or plastic. It's an aggressive kind of wood, okay, that attaches to stuff. That's why it's so hard. And you'll start getting black streaks that will show up. If you left it weather gray, you get these black streaks. They'll start showing up wherever you didn't use stainless steel. So it's a difference in approach in how it's installed.
Okay, and again, you're saying the stainless steel stuff is really expensive. I know on screws, that's included in this price of the 100,000-ish.
Yeah, so I have a quote right here. Now this guy, they quoted it longer than what it is. Okay. He wanted to make sure it was in. So he quoted 165 foot long by 22 feet wide. We think it's only 140 feet long. Okay. But they included all the e-pay, included all the clips, stainless steel, solid stainless steel, all the screws, solid stainless steel, delivery, sealing the ends. They would store it till we wanted it, and the total all in is $96,000.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
the next question is on the installation side, do we have any kind of ballpark of what that is, just to get a sense of what the total cost of the project would be?
Yeah, so Mike and I were trying to figure that out, and he was taking standard labor rates of carpenters and such, trying to figure it out. Probably we're thinking probably about $50,000 on the installation side. Now, if you
So
think
when
back,
when
that's less than some of the quotes we got last year. I mean,
Okay,
we were
good.
I think
So that puts us
159 we
back
were
into
on
what we were
replacing wood
thinking
last year, but
originally
because we're
to do the concrete.
using ourselves as a general contractor and we're not paying the profit side of it, if you will, and just the direct time and materials kind of things, it's kept our costs down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of this wood up to $100,000.
How about 110?
You think 110 is what I meant to say. I stumbled
Okay.
when I said 100.
I'll second that.
Hey, before we vote, can I ask one more question, Dave?
Sure.
I just want to make sure you didn't misspeak. You said it was cost more if you do the screws instead of having them carve out the channels in the back of the wood?
Yes, because it takes more time to install. You
So
have
more
to,
cost on the installation side, not on the prep side.
yes, it's the same. Wood is the same on the prep side, right?
Okay, so even if they have to bore those channels in the back, there's no, excuse me, there's no added cost.
No, no.
Okay, so I have a motion on the table, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And anyone opposed? All right,
Great.
motion carries.
All
I'm
right, thank
excited.
you. So we will take and we will forward it onto the board for next week for their approval also.
Kevin's next boat will be made of Ipe wood, I bet.
It's gonna be a heavy boat.
It's going to sink, right? That stuff, the wood doesn't float.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
thanks for doing the research, Dave. I think that's going to look awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it was really interesting. It was fun to do that one because a lot of the stuff I wasn't aware of that kind of wood, but then you talk to all these people that used it for years and years and years, and they're very high on it. So it's great.
All right, so 5E Marina winterization update.
Okay, we of course shut down already, and we've got PWS here, Pier and Waterfront Solutions. They took 2 or 3 days and knocked down the docks and got them all changed out and moved around and winterized, if you will. We also are using them for our emergency dredging project or our special dredging project. Of course, we didn't want to have to put a new bid package together and go back out. We didn't have time because of our permit requirements. The DNR did give us a slight extension into November, so that's why we're doing it now, thankfully. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Parks Department needed to do some rock work over on the swim dock on the beach side. And what they had to do is on the north side, they needed to put rip wrap rock the whole length of the pier because it was being undercut and steel had to be replaced this last year to try to prevent that. So we needed a lot of rocks moved in the marina, especially along the shore and out around our long dock. When we did the dock changes a couple years ago, it exposed a lot of rocks that we needed moved. So we worked it out with the Parks Department and with PWS. They took the rocks that we needed moved and they moved them over to the swim dock. And
Nice.
we took care of about 50% of the rocks that they needed, as I understand. And then they went out to the long-term, what had been a long-term parking lot, because we had a lot of rocks stacked out there from when we did the beach project many years ago. And they used all those rocks also. So we were able to, between the pile that was out there and the rocks that we needed moved, they got about 90% of the rocks that they needed for the swim dock. And that was completed, I think, last Friday is when that was done. So we got all our rocks moved, which helped us because we had a lot of piers, like along the walkway, the C dock ones, and the close to the launch ramp. Some over on A dock, where when the water goes down, the rock's exposed. Basically, you end up getting a shorter slip out of it. By moving those rocks, we got our length back without having to dredge. Okay, especially on C dock by the walkway. As the water went down, when they built that wall and concreted it, they left a lot of rocks on the bottom. So by moving those rocks, it was the same as dredging, if you will, and so we don't have to do that. Then we also went and we measured every single dock on J dock and on D dock to see where we were depth wise and what we actually needed to dredge. And we came up with 10 or 11 spots that we absolutely needed to be dredged. And so that's what they're doing. Just like we did in the spring, we picked the ones we absolutely had to get done based on where we were water wise and projections. So we're feeling pretty comfortable. They're here again working today. We think they'll be done by the end of this week with doing that spot dredging, if you will. And then we should be good. Now, our dredging permit, we had what's referred to as a maintenance dredge permit, which was good for 5 years. That expires in May of 26, this coming year, this coming spring. So by completing everything we did now, before we have an expiration date in May, we will turn around and ask the DNR for another 5-year maintenance dredge permit. So when stuff like this comes up again, we're able to just contact them, go through the process and get it. It usually takes a week or 10 days after you have a permit to activate it. And so if you have a maintenance dredge permit, that's a long-term one just sitting there, we just have to contact them, tell them what we're going to do and when. And as long as we stay within the dates, we can just go ahead and do it without too much issue. You don't have to apply for it every time. Um, so we will do that again too. We're anticipating again, probably another 3 to 5 years of water going down based on past history and what NOAA is saying and the Corps of Engineers. So we're probably not done. We're probably not done with the dredging issue quite yet over the next couple of years. But I think based on what we have done this year in the spring and what we're doing now in the fall, I think we're in pretty good shape. Obviously, for next year, I think we'll be perfectly fine, and we'll just have to see what happens with the water after that. The other thing is Sam and Nolan had started working today on putting all of our bubblers out on all of our docks so they don't go away. We also have got a couple of docks that are being rebuilt. If you recall, the previous years we had B dock and C dock finger piers taken out of the water and rebuilt. There was one or two we couldn't get to. One of them was C83 or a Charlie 83 spot in the end of C dock because our pump out lines and system were hooked to it. We didn't pull that one out of the water last year, but we knew we had to have it done. So we did that this fall. So that one's been pulled and that's the last one that needs to be rebuilt in the marina at this point in time. So they would do that this winter. And for current winterizations, I think that's all I got. Unless you got a question.
That's a lot. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We stay busy.
Before we move on to vendor annual reports, I don't know why I just thought it maybe because it's in one of the reports. Did we ever Did I miss it? Did we ever get an update on that pump out system, like the new pump?
Okay, yes and no. Yes, we have updates. Uh, Again, this year it works up and down B, C, A dock. We still had issues on D dock. We're waiting to get a larger pump. Okay,
Hmm.
we've been waiting for some time. They only they're very difficult to get. They're trying to import this one. We didn't want to pay 100% tariff, so we told them to hold off. It was going to go from about a $15,000 pump to a $35,000 pump with tariffs.
Yeah.
So he said, no, let's wait. Okay. In the meantime, we tried to work with the commercial vendors, with Seldor County and with boat tours. I know that in one of the boat tours things that says they went to Yacht Works to do most of the pump out. I take a little bit of exception to that. We've done the pump on a Norador since June on A dock. We did several times, but we also they did some modification to their their holding system, where they put a little ejection pump on it and hooked it up to our system, and it works pretty well.
Oh,
So
good.
for most of July and August, they did a daily pump out at their slip using our system. So I know it says they did most of them at Yacht Works. I take exception to that. I think that may be some holdover from last year. But the other thing to mention is, uh, and they did a pump out almost every day, during those times because they're very busy. But they didn't used to have to do it. They had to change their, and Nick can talk to this maybe. They had a problem with their the marine toilets that were in there, so they changed them. So in past years, they had to have a pump out a couple of times a week, and scheduled maybe Monday and on Thursdays after the weekend, before the weekend kind of thing. And we did it a couple of days a week. This year, it's almost every day of the week. It's not just a couple times a week because they changed the system, so a lot more fluid is going into the system, so they need to pump it out quicker. Obviously, that became a higher priority for them as a result of that. And that's why the pump out is such an issue. And we're trying to get it done. I want it done as fast as we can, but I think we did the majority of their pump outs this year on site, with their help and assistance.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks. Yeah, sorry, I had just seen it in one of the reports and I couldn't remember where we were at with it, but that's great.
Yep.
Okay, so commercial vendor reports.
They were all in there. I don't know if you had a chance to review them or not.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions of them. They're all online too.
Yeah.
Okay. And we always put an annual report together for it's either the December, January board meeting. We will put that together also and available for you guys for the next meeting that we have too.
I guess as long as we're kind of talking about it, and maybe I'm jumping ahead, we could talk about it later, but you talk about this pump out and commercials doing it almost daily. Under pump out services, we've only got $400 worth of revenue.
Again, it
Are
all
they,
tracks, the financials always track later. We just,
okay,
if we have a bill in process until it's paid, it doesn't hit the financials. So I know Nick was in last week. We billed him $1,100 for pump outs a couple of weeks ago, and he came in this last week and paid for it. It just hasn't hit the books yet.
got it. Okay,
So
so, and
year end, if we have any outstanding, that's when we bill the commercials is at year end. And any that we have outstanding from our seasonal boaters, we take care of it at the end. So that's it. That's in process billed. And I think, Sam, most of it's been paid for, right?
Almost all of it, yeah.
Yeah, almost all the invoices for pump out have been paid, just haven't hit the financials yet.
okay, so that, I mean, and again, just rough numbers, we'll see how it gels out, but I mean, if they did 100 pump outs, I'm thinking they're pumping out a lot of stuff at $30-40 a pump out. That's $3,000-4,000, which is great. Hopefully it will. That's what we've got budgeted in here. I'm just,
So I know the budget's been like 2,450 or annually for several years. I think, I don't know if he
oh yeah,
took
you're right,
right now,
2350. Yeah.
2350, 2450, etc. The majority of that comes from the commercials. So the commercials will have, you know, 15 to 1,800 of that. The balance is from transients or from our seasonal boaters.
Sorry, I was just looking at the financials. They had closed. So we saved $50,000 not doing the boathouse project. And then the marina made a pretty good amount of money. So that's great.
Yep.
Anything that happened this year, budget wise, that you did not anticipate or that we should prepare for next year?
No, I think we were pretty much able to stay on track. Usually this year, it doesn't always happen this way. Usually we can anticipate something coming a month or two in advance. If there's going to be a big change, then we can try and alleviate it. But this year we didn't have a lot of that. The biggest thing we're working on is that trying to get that silly pump from overseas to upgrade the pump up. But other than that, I didn't know. Nothing outstanding.
That's great. And then the lower expenditure on the boardwalk overall.
Mhm.
And we thought, I mean, these are all great things because
Yep.
we know we've got some big expenses coming down the pipe.
Yeah, yeah.
And always more than we think, I think. So,
Yep.
okay. Did anybody have any questions on the financials at all?
Not me.
No? Anything we need to be talking about on a next agenda? I mean, I know we had talked about trying to get some things from the architects to send to everybody. We haven't got any updates yet. I know they're working on it. They were kind of waiting for that survey to come in so they could see if they had to adjust anything. So as soon as we get anything, we'll email it out to everybody. Um, should we put a tentative meeting date on the calendar in case we do need to approve something? Approve a survey of some kind, just so it's on the calendar, and then if we don't need to do it, we'll email the week before and say no need.
Sure, that's fine.
Is that okay? That way we don't have to kind of scramble and have Sam call everybody and okay, so I guess what would be our
The normal date would be December 17th, which would be the third Wednesday.
okay, let me check.
I think that's what we had scheduled at the last meeting.
Yeah, I've already got
Yeah,
that.
we already put that
Yeah, I
on.
think last time
Oh,
we
we
talked
did.
about it.
You're right, it's right in my calendar. Okay, great. The next meeting is December 17th at 4 p.m. Again, we'll do it via Zoom if everybody's okay with that.
Great.
If for any reason we don't have anything to talk about and it's not worth taking the time, we will make sure you get a phone call or an email a couple days ahead of time so that you know. So, I mean, I know you guys are all going to miss each other, but we won't do a meeting just to say hi. So, all right, anything else today? No? Okay, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Grant, second by Kanako. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting is officially adjourned. Thanks so much, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Take
day.
care.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks, Dave.
Take
Have a
care.
great day.